Okay, so I just want to ask the question: Are generational curses real? And so I don't know the answer, right? But one of the things that always kind of bothered me a lot was, especially as I got married, just knowing that my mother and my father had divorced. Even with me getting married, there was quite a few years that went past where personally I just kind of figured, like, since my mother and my father got divorced, I'm the man, I'm destined to be more like my father. And so in a lot of ways I just waited for my divorce to happen, just being 100 with it. My mindset was that I probably just couldn't escape the things that had happened in my past. I really didn't have control over it. I was just bound to kind of repeat the cycle or whatnot. And so as time went past, I realized that a lot of that was just a lie or whatnot. So every situation that happened in the marriage, I pretty much thought like, yep, okay, here's gonna be the time where we split, just like my father or whatnot, my father and my mother. And I don't really know what happened fully with my father and my mother, why they split up and stuff. I know there was a lot of different things that happened, but nonetheless, I just thought that my divorce or my time splitting was gonna come because like in my past, I hadn't seen that, and I just knew that's what it was or whatever. Or that's where I was destined to be. But I just over time found that to be a lie. Like, as or may not know, but this year is gonna be 24 years of marriage for me and my wife, and so we walked through a lot of stuff, and so over the time, I think realizing that there are a lot of things that you can pick up generationally and stuff. And I think that that's so true in a lot of ways. But I don't think we, as our own individuals, are bound to that. So, yes, things go on, things happen. But I don't think that we are destined to necessarily be just like our parents are. And the thing that really keeps us, and when you look at a lot of people and see them being just like their parents or whatnot, I think it just is just a simple thing of you become whoever you are around. And so when you are around your parents, you picked up a lot of habits that you've seen them do, whether it's like cooking habits, whether it's financial habits, whether it's just attitude habits or whatnot. um you are bound to repeat a lot of those things. And so I know, even for my father used to tell me, man, you show me the people that you hang around and I can tell you who you are. And I just never believed it until one day, hanging around with everybody, smoking weed, selling drugs, doing the stuff that they was doing, I started picking up a lot of those types of things. So I think, beside there being generational curses, I think, we just need to choose better who we are around. And I remember my brother just telling me too, like, you know, you have to be around people who are doing the same thing that you are doing or better, and when you are around those people, you can see that um you start to pick up a lot of those ways and a lot of those habits. So, just start choosing the people that you're around, start learning different things other than what you have already been taught, what's been instilled in you since you were a kid. Um, and yeah, I think, you can change things around. So, I'm just putting this video out to say, don't get fooled by the thing of just thinking, hey, what I've seen from my parents is everything that I'm going to be. That's definitely not true. You have the ability to be able to change. You have you have your own individuality. You know what I'm saying? Your own individuality. So I think I kind of screwed that up. But anyway, you have like the ability to be yourself. And so you don't have to repeat the things that you see, even for me and my children. Like, I do want my children to be like me in some ways, but I want them to see the bad in me and go different, because like there are a lot of good things in me. There's a lot of good qualities in my father, my mother. And do I wish to emulate those things? Yes. But I also see the bad in both of my parents or whatnot. And so, my goal is to just, be better than what they were. Not saying that they, just horrible people or anything, but, like if we can't look at something and figure it out, sometimes we don't have to learn from experience. We just have to learn by, knowing and seeing from others' experiences, not our own. And so, yeah, like I said, I do want my kids to be like me in some of my good ways, but in some of my bad ways, like that's why I'm so transparent with my kids. I want them to be able to see the good and the bad, and to be able to build on the good, but then also try to overcome the bad because, you know, intentionally or unintentionally, there's things that I've taught my children that, you know, they it's probably not the best, and then there's things that I've taught them that are the best. So, you know, yeah. So anyway, don't be afraid and feel like you just bound by all the negativity that you see around you or whatnot. Like, be your own self and do your own thing. So, not gonna keep you long, but hey, until the next video, I'm out. And I'm Damien. And also, if you know anybody who can benefit from these videos, feel free to share them. Also, leave a like. It just kind of helps out the algorithm and videos and stuff. But yeah, anyway, until the next video, I'm out. Peace.